I'm back. Am I back? I think I'm back now. Let's see. I think I'm back. Okay. Sorry about that. And now the VOD is split into two. Isn't that great? Isn't that fantastic? When last we were streaming, 5 minutes ago, Bluey and her dad found a bird that had been hurt and had fallen out of a tree. They do the right thing and they get a shoebox. They get the shoebox all nice and comfy for the bird, and they bring the bird to the veterinarian. The fact that there's a animal hospital in the animal world is not really a thing that I've thought about up until this point, but there is a sort of weird dissonance between the fact that there's like cats that are never seen but talked about as if they're mythical creatures, like lizards. Like, are any of these other creatures sapient? I'm thinking they're not. And the fact that there is a veterinarian is kind of odd to think about, not gonna lie. The veterinarian comes out and says, "Oh, sorry, honey, the bird died. The bird didn't make it because it's a bird, and I don't know what to tell you." So, they were like, we did the best we could. And Bluey is like, "Well, why did the bird have to die?" And Bandit's like, "That's just how life works sometimes." They get home, and Chili obviously already knows. So this is sort of an interesting dynamic of how the kids work. Like, whenever they come to issues that bother them, they like to do role plays to sort of, understand what happened. Like, so Bluey asks Bingo to pretend to be a bird, a budgie, one of the birds that had just gotten hurt. She's like, "Can you pretend to be a hurt budgie?" And so she wants to reenact the situation that happened before. It's a little more slapsticky because, obviously Bingo's real little, or excuse me, not real little. She's huge compared to a bird. So she pretends to bring Bingo to the veterinarian, who is run by her mom. And her mom is like, "Good news, Bluey, the bird is fine." And Bluey's like, no, you have to pretend the bird died. You need to pretend that the bird died. and Chili's like, "You sure?" And Bluey's like, "Trust me." She doesn't say that. She's like, "Yeah, Mom, can you just pretend the bird died, please?" And she's like, "All right." She's like, "All right, Bluey. Sorry, the budgie died." And Bluey's like, "Oh, all right. I'm sorry." But then Bingo starts running around. She's like, "Cheep, cheep, cheep! Yay, I'm alive!" That sort of vibe. And Chili's like, "Oh, I guess we should have told the budgie that she was supposed to die." So Bingo is running around in the yard, all happy and alive and not dead. And Bluey's like, "You know what? That's just how life is sometimes." And she learns that sometimes your role play doesn't work out. Sometimes life just isn't the way you expect it to be. Things happen. It's an interesting moral. The moral of Copycats, I'm on the wrong page. The moral of Copycat is that about accepting things that are outside of our control. Bluey learns that sometimes we can't change the outcome of difficult situations, like the budgie's fate. And it's okay to feel sad, but it's also important to let go and move forward. I like Copycat. I think Copycat's a very good episode. I think it's an important episode. I like it better. I like it better than Butterflies. And I think I like the dump better than Butterflies too. I think the Butterflies is going to take a little bit of a slide the more I'm seeing of other episodes and the more time passes from Butterflies. I like Copycat better than The Claw, but I don't like it better than Shadowlands. I think that's where Copycat is. It's also important to fart when you need to. The ones on stream avatars are so squeaky compared to the fart on the cannon. Compared to the confetti. Just very squeaky. The sleepover. This might be an S. Sleepover is such a good episode. So Sleepover is another episode with cousins. There's no Socks, unfortunately. Socks would not work well with the dynamic of this episode. So the kids are all excited because there's a sleepover. Their cousin Muffin's coming over, and they get to stay up late. Yay, they get to stay up late. And Chili's like, all right, cool. I do it. I promised you could stay up late. So Bluey's like, welcome, Muffin. And Muffin comes in and she is going nuts. She runs in and she's like, coconuts have water in them. I'm a banana queen. Do you remember when Lisa drank the water in the Simpsons episode and she got all nuts? That's what Muffin acts like in this episode. She is sleep deprived and 3. So she spends the entire episode being a complete nightmare. Have we seen Stripe before? This is Stripe's like, yeah, about that. Yeah, see, here's the thing. You know, when you are a kid, you know how you guys are kids and you used to take a nap during the day and then you went to sleep at night, but now you only sleep at night? Well, see, Muffin over here, she is in the middle of those two times. She hasn't had a nap today, so she's exhausted. And the kids are like, oh, gotcha. So Muffin's over here just making a complete mess. She's throwing things on people's tails. She's just being a nightmare because she's exhausted and 3. And Stripe is like, all right, have fun with that, Chili. Bye. Muffin acts like more of a nightmare. And Chili's like, look, guys, Muffin needs to go to bed. And the girls are like, well, you literally just promised that we could stay up. And she's like, yeah, well, look at her. Look at this kid over here. She's going nuts. And you could do one game. You could have one role play game and then she's going to bed. And they're like, okay, let's do a really, really long game. And they choose restaurants, which basically the point of restaurants is they're going to a restaurant. Also, every time Kitty sees this character here, which is Bingo in a mustache, this character that Bingo does, her whole thing is, yeah, babe. Yeah, no worries, babe. Oh, yeah, Muffin calls herself Beepoo Bapu. And Chili's like, Beepoo Bapu needs to go to bed. The kids are desperately trying to keep Muffin up so they're able to play longer because they're like, you promised we could stay up late. We used to have a channel of Muffin grabbing the tablecloth and walking off with it. I think I got rid of it. Coconuts have water in them. She's freaking out on the table. The girls are like, wow, you really are tired, aren't you, Muffin? They're like, wait, we're not done with the game. We're almost done with the game, but you promised we could play a little longer. So they go over to the chippy stand and the dad's like, all right, here's some chips. Now pay me some money. And they're like, well, if we pretend to not pay, we can have the game go on longer. Muffin, run. And she's like, okay. Muffin is so good in this episode, just completely exhausted and unhinged. She's like, I'm the flamingo queen. Help me escape, flamingo. And the girls are like, God, Muffin, chill. Eventually, Chili's like, all right, kids, we played the game. You need to go to bed. And the girls are like, oh, but you promised we could stay up late. And Chili, in the only episode you ever see a character wear a watch, shows them that they did, in fact, stay up late. And the girls are like, yay, we got to stay up late. And Chili's like, no, not yay. You need to take care of your cousin. Look at your cousin. She's going nuts over there. And they're like, wait, where the hell? God. They never pay attention to whoever the youngest character is on this show, and I love it every time. So Muffin is going nuts, running off, crashes into the water. Eventually, Bluey, here we go. Bingo's like, Bluey, we can still play the game. And Bluey's like, you know what? No, we need to get her to bed. So they chase off in this direction, and they're like, Muffin, you need to hide in here. And she's like, okay, Bluey. Thanks, Bluey. She finally gets to go to bed. Bluey is exhausted in the morning, and Muffin's like, maybe you need to go to sleep earlier. Waka waka. And then she's like, why is there a flamingo in my bed? And Bluey's like, it's a crazy story, kid. This is your favorite episode? It's not my favorite episode, but it ranks up there. It's better than Shops, but not better than Bumpy and the Wise Old Wolfhound. I think I'm willing to put it above Shops, but not above Bumpy. You're so hungry and you don't know why? Have you had some Cheez-Its? Have you had any Cheez-Its? Early Baby. Oh, Early Baby is an interesting one. Early Baby is an immense tone shift. So Early Baby is an episode where everybody is at school, and this is a Rusty heavy episode, a Rusty indie episode. So Rusty is up against Bluey, Indy, and Honey, and Calypso is the teacher in the middle, and they're all fighting. And Calypso's like, all right, why was everybody yelling? And they were like, and so what happened? So Rusty's like, well, I walked up to the ladies with this baby and was like, excuse me, girls, do you have any crutches? And the girls just started shrieking. And Calypso's like, I'm confused. What happened? And they're like, can you tell me your side of the story, girls? And the girls are like, okay, well, we were playing nurse babies or whatever. And all of us over here, Chloe, Honey, and Indy over here, we were going to have babies. And then the babies, we were going to have them. We were going to be mommies. And Indy, she wanted to have an early baby, just like her sister. Apparently her sister was a premature baby. And she wanted to pretend to have an ICU baby. So they do a sort of, my baby came early. We have to put the baby in the, I want to say incubator. That's not the right term. What is that? That's not the right term. It's not incubator. Whatever it is, they put the baby inside of the protective baby box. And they're like, well, when you have an early baby, you have to leave the baby at the hospital for a while. And it's sad. And the nurse is like, all right, well, you got to leave the baby for premature baby. And just walking along with it. And Rusty's like, that makes a lot of, that explains why gotcha. I'm sorry, ladies. I didn't know you had a premature baby and I was just holding it. And Indy's like, it's okay. She's fine. She's fine. And then, wait, girls, before you go back to playing your game, Rusty, why did you want crutches anyway? So Rusty's like, ooh, I could tell you my story. So Rusty's over here with Coco. They're over here with the village that they're pretending, the village with the castle. And they're like, oh, the dragon is coming around. The dragon's going to demand a sacrifice from the town. And Coco and Rusty are like, okay, well, the king decrees that a random selection, one of you random people has to be chosen to go to the dragon. And it turns out that the king's daughter was chosen. So the king's daughter goes off with the dragon, who is Snickers, who we last saw in Shadowlands. They did a lot of backstory here. Apparently a lot of talking with the townsfolk that did not need to happen. They needed padding for this episode. The dragon's like, yay, I get to eat someone, and he runs off. And Rusty's like, I will go save the princess. I'll save the princess for you, king. So meanwhile, Early Babies is happening over here. They leave the early baby to go rest. And the dragon and Rusty decide to duke it out over here. And Rusty's like, wait, we should use this baby. This thing looks more like a princess. And Snickers is like, oh, okay, yeah, let's use this baby in the box. And then they're like, I'm the dragon who stole the princess. Eventually, Rusty ends up beating the dragon, yanking off his tail, and then saves the princess. And Rusty's like, yes, I saved you, princess. Now I can go back to the kingdom. Oh, but I'm injured from the dragon, so I need to go get some medical help. Excuse me, girls, do you have any crutches? So it's one of those situations. And the girls are like, oh, that makes a lot. That's why he was holding the early baby. Hooray. And the girls are like, well, that's settled. Let's go play nurses some more. And Indy's like, hey, Rusty, you wanna play house? And Rusty's like, yeah, all right. Absolutely no accents up to this point. Yeah, all right. I got not even the right country. I like early baby. Perspective is the fact that it gives all those different perspectives is really fun. I like early baby better than Shadowlands, but not more than Markets. I think right up here, I think right there is fine. Now, this is something interesting that happens here. It happens very rarely in Bluey. They have a follow-up. The next episode is Mums and Dads, and it is a direct sequel from Early Baby. So this is immediately afterwards. Indy and Rusty are pretending to what is the hell is the name? Mums and Dads is the name, not home, not house. So they're playing Mums and Dads with their premature baby, and they're like, all right, we have a home now. Everything is great at the house. And Rusty's like, okay, I've fixed everything. Now it's time for us to go to work. And they're both like, well, wait, we can't both go to work. Someone's got to take care of the baby. And Rusty, in the first act of wild misogyny in the show, Rusty's like, no, girl's supposed to stay at home, and I'm supposed to work. And Indy's like, no, because Indy's mom is very much like, nature. Everybody can do everything. Indy has learned, no, women can do anything men can do. And Rusty's like, I don't think that's true. And Indy's like, well, fine, I'm going to go play something else, and we're not going to play Mums and Dads together. And Calypso is like, all right, kids. All right, kids. I see the internet's being cranky again. I should do a internet test speed. I haven't done one of those in a while. Let me see. Let's just for funsies do a speed test. Maybe it's the server. Because there should be absolutely no reason I should be having any issues. Well, now I'm dropping frames because it's downloading that, I think. Awesome. I love issues. Issues are fun. Probably just the server. Whatever. Mums and Dads. We're still talking about Mums and Dads. So Calypso's like, all right, Rusty, you and Indy need to not play together for a while. Rusty, you go play with Bluey. Indy, you go play outside. You guys need to cool down. And Indy's like, fine with me. I don't want to talk to him anyways. And Rusty's like, fine. And Calypso's like, we'll see. So Calypso goes out and plays with Mackenzie. Mackenzie, best character on the show. Mackenzie is out in the sand pit and is just digging a hole. And Indy's like, oh, okay, you wanna play house? And Mackenzie's like, sure, as long as it involves digging a hole is the vibe he's going for. And Indy's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to work. Can you watch the baby? And Mackenzie's like, I reached the bottom. It's plastic. And Mackenzie's like, oh, or Indy's like, okay, fine. Well, Mackenzie's like, I'm going to dig another hole. If you need any questions as to why Mackenzie is one of my favorite characters, Just such a good character. Meanwhile, Rusty is inside talking to Bluey, and Bluey's like, "Sure, we can play mums and dads. That'd be great, or whatever. We can play house and families." And Bluey's like, "Come here, baby," and and treats Rusty like a baby for a few minutes, which I think is just some weird content some writers are getting out of their system. Indy goes over to Snickers and is like, "Hey, you want to play mums and dads?" And Snickers is like, "Yeah, I'm going to play something else." This pattern repeats for the rest of the 5 minutes. Rusty and Bluey aren't playing the way either of them want to play, and Indy keeps looking for new people. Indy comes over to Winton, one of my least favorite characters, and says something along the lines of, "Hey, Winton, if we play mums and dads, will you promise to do exactly what I say?" And Winton's like, "Yeah, I'm a very obedient breed." Something along those lines. And Indy's like, "Awesome. Watch this baby. I'm going to go to work." Indy's like, "Work, work, work. What the hell are you doing? Why are you here?" And Winton's like, "I don't know what to do with this baby." And she's like, "Just take care of it. I don't know." Winton's like, "All right, I guess. I don't want that. I guess." This just goes on for a while, and she goes and she finds the terriers, and one of the terrier here. She's like, "Hey, you terrier, you're gonna be dad." And the terrier's like, "I'm kind of in the middle of something." And Indy's like, "That sounds like a you problem. Take care of the baby." And the terrier's like, "Oh, okay, I guess." And the terrier's like, "You ready to storm the castle?" And he's like, "Yeah." So the terriers go and storm the castle and have a fight with dogs. Oh, God, who's in that fight over there? I don't recognize who that is on the right, but that's Pretzel, Chloe, and Honey. Very interesting characters in this pretend battle. The terrier basically gets into a fight, gets knocked out of the battle. Indy's like, "I don't know what's so hard about this. Just watch the baby." Eventually, Rusty and Indy catch up. Rusty's like, "You gotta hide me. Bluey's gone nuts. She thinks I'm her baby." And then they hop into the Mackenzie hole. Excuse me. The Mackenzie holes. I forgot that he made multiple holes. They hop into one of the holes, and this is probably the easiest long dog in the entire series is right here. So this is what a long dog is. There's a hidden long dachshund in every episode of Bluey. So they hop into the hole, and Indy and Rusty are like, "You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we fought. You want to play? You want to play mums and dads again?" And they're like, "Sure, let's play mums and dads again." And then they get back to the house, and they're like, "Well, we still got to figure out who's going to work. What's going on?" And Bluey's like, "Well, somebody's got to go to work." And then they're like, "Well, what if it's the weekend? Yay!" Which is a problem they could have fixed 5 minutes ago. Oh, by the way, I don't think I've ever mentioned this, but in the credits, I always thought this was an incredibly cool thing that they do. The children are never credited, ever. They never get a credit, which is a safety thing because they don't want to turn them into child stars or stalked by people. It's very, very cool. Mums and Dads, Roar TV, the Mickey one. I need to make a Roar TV or a channel command that will make it go back a channel. Mums and Dads is good. It's not that good. It's a little busy. I think it's better than Granny's. It's better than Pirates. I don't know if it's better than Fruit Bats. They're actually children. Who? The children of like Bluey and them? Yeah, all of the children are allegedly actually children. And the idea is that they have never had their names. It's probably a public open secret, around the studio, but it's not public on the internet. And I've obviously never checked. This is hide and seek. A couple good episodes coming up. Okay, so hide and seek is an episode that starts out with Dad and Bluey are out here in the garden, and Dad's like, you need to learn to just chill, Bluey. You need to learn to relax and find your inner peace. And Bluey's like, okay, that's cool. You want to play you want to play hide and seek? And everyone's like, okay. So Bluey's like, all right, you all hide and I'll go find you. And Chili's like, hang on, you're not gonna forget to find us, will you? And Bluey's like, I will not forget to look for you all. And they're like, please don't forget to look for us. So they all go and hide. And then Bluey's like, ready or not, here I come. She is extremely forgetful. To be fair, she does have a distraction. So she goes and looks around, honestly, for a few minutes. She can't find anybody. She goes and looks in the utility room, and she finds Chattermax. She finds this character. Chattermax is a furry. Not a furry. It's a Furby. Chattermax is straight up a Furby. Wow. I'm going to switch servers. Real fast because this server is not doing us wonders. I'm going to be right back. I lost my picture. All right, let's try that. I'm in Miami now. I think we were on episode like 40 something. Oh, I added the Game Grumps channels, the Grumps 10-minute power hour stuff. Oh, here we are. I found it. Okay, hopefully that will fix it. My internet's fine. There should be absolutely no reason for any of that. So we found Chattermax. Chattermax is basically a Furby that shrieks songs and is louder than anything, and the kids love it. It was hidden under the sink, which implies that the parents probably threw it there because it makes a lot of damn noise. Bluey immediately forgets about playing hide and seek and decides to screw around with Chattermax for a while. And what's her name? And Bingo recognizes the fact that she has now been forgotten, that the game is now lost, and she is no longer going to play hide and seek. Bandit also recognizes this, and so does Chili. Everybody has lost faith in Bluey for obvious reasons. Bluey is now playing she is now doing a tea party with Chattermax. Eventually, Chattermax gets too rambunctious for the tea party, and Bluey's like, Chattermax, you've got to still do, if you have your mind set on something, you can't go crazy and forget what you're doing, which is basically exactly what Bluey was doing. She eventually runs through the house and is yelling like, Mom, Dad, Bingo, where are you? I can't find you. Can you help me shut Chattermax out? It always surprised me they waited so long before they decided they needed to come out. I mean, we forget that it's only been like 4 minutes so far. It's like these episodes are only 7 minutes long. Eventually, Bluey goes out to the garden and she's like, I remember when Dad said something about bullshit. What did he say? And she's like, oh yeah, I gotta find my Zen. Oh, that's right, I was playing hide and seek. Eventually she goes and finds everybody, and then she's like, oh, can you all believe that I forgot to look for you? And everybody's like, yeah, we know. We know. And eventually everybody goes and plays hide and seek, and Chattermax is out in the garden, and it's adorable. Chattermax is so good. I love Chattermax. Hide and seek is a little frustrating. Hide and seek is a little frustrating because, like, Bluey, come on. It's a little inside. You were asked to play a game. What's going on, kid? I think hide and seek is okay. I think it's better than Mums and Dads. I think it's better than the pool. And I think that's about it. I don't think it's better than the adventure. I think right at the top of B is just fine. Camping. Oh man, is camping an episode. A lot of people consider this one of their favorite episodes. So this one will probably get some extra attention. Channel sucks. Sorry about the internet issues. We have not had internet issues in so long that I forgot that could be an option. So this is camping. Camping, they are out here in Stripes RV. They are out here camping with their uncle and cousins. The cousins are here technically, but they don't really come up very much. What is the barking for? The barking means that Aurora TV channel has just been fed to Sandy, and that channel that was just deleted will not come up again. So Bluey is in here pretending that she owns the RV. Muffin's over here being a 3-year-old. The kids are like, welcome to my RV. And Muffin's like, Bluey, this is my RV. Everything here is ours, not yours. Just being a brat. Eventually, Bingo gets taken off to go take a bath. Conveniently leaving Bluey all by herself. So she runs off down to the creek to go play. Eventually, she meets up with this guy. This is, we don't know his name yet. Bluey, he's just basically, bonjour. This kid only knows French. And Bluey doesn't know what the hell he's saying. The kid says in French, like, do you want to play? And Bluey's like, I don't know what you're saying, kid. But eventually they work out through pantomime that they want to build a little shelter out here in the woods. But they're more or less pretending that they're having to fend for themselves out here in the wood. And Bluey's like, oh, what a great tent we made. And the other kid's like, oh, bonjour. Plant a seed. And Bluey's like, yay, we can plant a seed and have food. And eventually they go, pretend to hunt their dad, who's being a wild pig out in the wild. And Bluey and this character are like, rah, I'm in the way. We're gonna catch the pig, and the pig runs away. And they're like, well, I guess we can't catch the pig today. Eventually the parents are like, well, time for dinner. And Bluey's like, my name's Bluey, and this kid's name is Jean-Luc. Jean-Luc is the name of this kid. He is, we can see this adorable picture of everybody, and most importantly, socks. Most importantly, socks. This French floozy. This French floozy is actually a boy. This French floozy is a boy who is a French Canadian. Did the music stop? There we go. So this kid is French Canadian. You can tell by the maple syrup. Also, hi Garnfighter. So the days go by, and Bluey and Jean-Luc continue their quest to try and hunt the pig. And Jean-Luc and Bluey sort of babble at each other, and Bluey's like, I'll come up at it, and you run from behind. And Jean-Luc's like, croissants. And then they both run at it really fast. And Bluey's like, that wasn't the plan, Jean-Luc. And Jean-Luc's like, oh, French words. Oh, well, let's go to dinner. Where are they vacationing? I'm not sure, but somewhere in Australia. I think they probably have figured out where it most likely would be. They eventually work out that they can draw messages to each other. They're doing something very fascinating in this show. They do it a lot where they pretend that technology doesn't exist. This would be a perfect situation in which they would grab the iPad, load up Google Translate offline, and download the French translation. Also, Jean-Luc seems to know some form of English, as you'll see later. So they work out a plan to hunt the pig. It's an adorable little Lord of the Flies sequence where they basically beat up Bandit. Eventually, they call them to dinner, And Bluey is like, see you tomorrow, Jean-Luc. And Jean-Luc is like, no, not tomorrow. But he says it in French, so of course Bluey doesn't understand. Jean-Luc's all sad. He's like, au revoir, Bluey. He's French-Canadian. Well, maybe they came to Australia, I would assume. But they're supposed to be French-Canadian. And Bluey's got down to the crick. And she's like, oh, look, the seed we planted is growing. Jean-Luc, come on, Jean-Luc. Oh, Jean-Luc? Jean-Luc. So eventually she goes up to her mom and she's like, Mom, you know that French Canadian kid I've been playing with for a few days? And Chili's like, yeah, I saw them packing up this morning, Bluey. I'm sorry. They're gone. I'm sorry. And Bluey's like, well, shit, I didn't want him to leave. I wouldn't want him to leave. Wouldn't necessarily have app loading privileges, know that Google Translate's an option. That's fair. And I mean, it wouldn't be good for the narrative, but they spend several episodes being so wildly anti-technology for good reason, I guess, but there are some instances where it would actually be good, such as possibly exchanging an email address, although they're young enough that they wouldn't have an email. I get why she's sad, but so here on this night after Jean-Luc has gone home, Bingo's like, I need to go pee, Mom, and she's like, all right, let's go pee in the bushes. So there's several instances in this show where the parents have to take Bingo to go pee. What year did season 1 come out? I want to say it was 2018 or 19. So during the peeing scene, Bluey asks Chili, is like, why did that kid leave? And she's like, well, the vacation was over. And Bluey's like, well, that made me sad. I didn't want him to leave. And Chili's like, well, are you happier now that you met him? You know, you had a good memory, and that's what's important. Kinda. I mean, that's kind of those vibes. Like, it sucks when people leave, but at least we have the memories and we'll still remember them. And she's like, yeah, sometimes, yeah. And Bluey's like, yeah. And then they turn off the light and they see this really pretty scene. There's a Roar TV channel of this. Cut to the several years leading past this. It's implied that 10 years passes by and the seed that they planted next to the crick has now grown into a full-fledged tree. Over here on the left, it's implied that this is Bluey. Muffin is yelling across the shrieking. She's like, Bluey, that book is mine. And Bluey's like, I know, Muffin, I'm just borrowing your book. So she comes down here and reads on the next to the crick, and then she hears, hello, Bluey, and it's Jean-Luc. Oh, they came back. And Bluey has this nice little smile on her face, and it's very, very sweet. There we go. Camping is very sweet. I think camping is easily top tier. As long as you You know what? You want to know what's real? You want to see something really sad? Hold on. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Jean-Luc Easter book. You want to know something really sad, Bluey? Oh, I don't think... So there is an Easter book of Bluey. It's kind of like a Where's Waldo sort of thing. And there's like thousands of dogs on this page. And Jean-Luc is on the page with a drawing of Bluey. So it's clear that he is asking where Bluey is. So I haven't mentioned this yet. There is ongoing discussion in the Bluey fandom, as it were, that this is the character Bluey will probably end up with, which is very weird to talk about that when you're talking about preschool kids, but you don't have a lot of information to go off of. Some kid that she vacationed with 10 years ago, sure, that's probably the kid that she's going to end up with. I'll talk more about it later, but there's something really funny about the outcome of all that. I like camping better than shops. I like camping better than the sleepover. I like the shops better than the sleepover. I'm just going to pop the shops right up here now. I like camping better than the bumpy old wise old that one. I like camping better than bike. I don't like camping better than the creek. I think the creek is going to be a hard one to pass. And Mount Mom and Dad is not going to be the one to pass it. Where did my thing go? I want to see if I can find this one last time. Easter book Bluey. Where's Bluey? No, I can't find it. That's sad. I'll put it in the Discord if I can find it because it's really sad and kind of sweet. Where's our pictures? Here we go. All right, so this is Mount Mom and Dad. They have gone to the theme park, who cares theme park, and are exhausted. And they're like, all right, kids, go to bed. And the kids are like, well, we're not really tired. Can we play one quick game? And the parents are like, all right, you can play one quick game, but we're not doing shit. We're going to sit right here and you can do whatever you want, but whatever. And the kids are like, oh, heck yeah, let's play Mount Mom and Dad. And they're like, what? And it's basically the goal is they need to traverse Mom and Dad. So remember when I said earlier, feel annoyed about the climbing over the parents thing? Yeah, it's coming back up. We're traversing Mount Mom and Dad. So the gist of it, Bluey's like, come on, quick, let's go traverse the mountain. And Bingo's like, well, sure, let's do that, but I need to go collect mountaineering supplies. It's important to be prepared. So she grabs herself a whole bunch of clothes and a torch and all sorts of things like that. Yeah, they're not finger walking, thankfully. So Bingo's still grabbing supplies, and Bluey's like, all right, I'm going to leave without you, Bingo. I forgot that they were going to have a little contest to see who could get up Mount Mom and Dad first. And Bluey's like, well, I was going to wait for you, Bingo, but you took too damn long. And Bingo's like, well, we needed mountaineering supplies if we're going to climb Mount Mom and Dad. And Bluey's like, all right, whatever. And Bingo's like, you're not being fair, Bluey. And Bluey's like, well, hurry up. Come on. So you want to know something real gross? They just spent the day at the theme park. Bingo is currently sitting on her mom's eye. There is nothing about this that's sanitary. It is wild to me. So Bingo grabs her pretend map and they start to climb up Mount Mom and Dad, which is just more or less 6 minutes for them to traverse their parents. They get up towards the top, which is up towards Dad. Bingo is able to save the day because she has some mountaineering supplies. And Bluey's like, well, I'm still going to win. And eventually they start yelling and stuff. And Bingo's like, you're not being fair, Bluey. And then they're shrieking and they cause an avalanche. And then Dad shakes them off and then batters them with pillows and stuff. Bingo creates a little tent for them to stay in. She's like, you gotta come over here, Bluey. We gotta ride out the storm. and Bluey's like, well, thank goodness you had all these supplies. And Bingo's like, of course, you have to be prepared here in the mountains. And yeah, that has to smell real gross. And Bluey's like, I think the storm is letting up. Oh, I forgot. Bingo is like, I need to bring the music box. And Bluey's like, I'm not waiting for you to grab the music box. I'm going. And that's why she started up early. And then Bluey's like, I'm glad you brought the music box. It's sweet. Eventually, the storm calms down. Dad is asleep. I don't know if he is really asleep. I think he quite possibly could be. So eventually they climb up the mountain, and Chili says some really hokey line, says something like, it's not about who gets to the top of Mount Mom and Dad first. It's about getting there together. And then they slam the flag on top of Dad. So yeah, I think he was actually asleep and they woke him up. Mount Mom and Dad is fun. Mount Mom and Dad is fun. I don't know if it's a great episode. It's definitely top of C. It's better than Keepy Uppy. It's better than Pirates. It's better than Mums and Dads. And as I'm seeing Mums and Dads, I'm going to drop it a few. It's Mums and Dads is going to go under Grannies. Mount Mom and Dad is better. I'm going to say it's going to be right under Hide and Seek. Mount Mom and Dad's better than the... You know what? No. Under the Pool. There we go. Yeah, The Pool, Mount Mom and Dad, and Fruit Bat. Remember when I said earlier, Kitty, that Work was the episode that I hated that was coming up? I was wrong. It's Kids. Oh, Kids is bad. Kids is a bad episode. So, Kids is an episode where there should be 0 channels from Code of Honor. Is that a Next Generation episode? Look, I didn't... Kids is an episode where Bingo, Bandit, and Bluey are going to the store, and they want to play a game. And Bluey's like, we're going to play Kids. And the whole point of Kids is Bluey is the adult, and she has 2 kids, like Snowdrop and Dipshit. It doesn't matter. Basically, the whole point of the story is Bluey is pretending that Bingo is just a perfect little angel, and her dad is, and her dad is the other kid they don't really care about. TNG episode that was racist as hell because a dumb director that Roddenberry personally fired halfway through. Okay, I will put that in the scribble pad, and I will delete that folder later. So this just goes on for a while, and Bingo's getting into it because she's playing the bratty kid that gets her other kid into trouble. So she does some wild stuff, and she does the whole, oh, well, look at my other kid. Look how adorable Snowdrop is. She would never be naughty. Not like you, other kid. Oh, and at the beginning of the episode, Bluey and Bingo asked, Dad, who's your favorite? And Bandit was like, I'm not answering that. I don't have favorites. That's not how parenting works. And that is how they said, that's how they were like, all right, let's play family. Dipshit is family name. And eventually, like, look at this. Bingo is just, look at those eyes on Bingo. She just slams chips onto the ground. And Bluey's like, who did that? I hate this episode. And Bluey's like, why are you blaming Snowdrop? She'd never do that. She's my favorite. And then Bandit's like, well, fine. If you don't like me, I'm just going to do all this. I'm going to get all healthy food. And then Bandit's like, well, you're always nice to Snowdrop. She's your favorite. And Bluey's like, yeah, she is my favorite. And Bandit's like, oh, well, now I feel bad. And Bluey eventually realizes that Snowdrop is acting like a brat. And she's like, you are naughty. My other kid was better than you. Or something like that. He was right all along. And Bluey's like, I'm sorry, other kid. It was Snowdrop all along. Do you forgive me? I'm sorry that I said she was my favorite. And Bandit's like, okay, I forgive you. And Bluey's like, I like this person over here who's like, I just need to grab some real quick. And then Bluey's like, I need to go discipline my other kid. Come here, Snowdrop, you bastard. Come here. It's I don't hate this one as much as some of the others, but it's down there. It's the whole episode. By the way, my daughter refused to buy a birthday card today. Excellent. Birthday cards are a waste of money. I think Kids, way down here. It's a whole episode of Bingo being a brat of Bluey being a brat, of Bandit being picked on, and there's not really a whole lot of fun resolution. I like it better than Magic Xylophone. I like it better than Work. I don't like it better than Takeaway. I like Takeaway better than Hospitals. I like Kids better than I like Hospitals. And I like Takeaway better than I think there we go. Takeaway, Kids, Daddy Robot. Perfect. Late stage. It is. It was my late grandfather always said, what is the point of a birthday card? You're going to throw it away and never look at it again. There's not going to be any point. If you give somebody candy, that is something. That is something. I like Kids better than I like Hospitals. I didn't name the damn things. So this is Chicken Rat. Chicken Rat is the Memento episode. It is basically, what's her name? Bingo is about to go to bed, and she can't find her stuffed rabbit. And Chili says she bought a small bag of Trolli with a gift card. Excellent. That's perfect. Good job. I'm so proud of her. I knew I taught some good things into him. So Chili's like, well, where'd you leave your stuffed bunny? Her name is Floppy. Where'd you leave Floppy? And then they were like, well, earlier I had him on she was like, where were you earlier? It's like, well, we were on the patio earlier. So then they go out to the patio and they're like, all right, no floppies. No floppies out here. Taught into them. I taught into their brains. I taught into their ears. I said words and they heard them. Look at that file name on Roar TV. Lady and the Tramp with 1998 VHS. You can't even see the name, the number. So then they're like, well, before we were in the bathroom and we were trying to get the chicken rat to lay an egg. There's a story where, okay, it's going to be confusing to explain. Oh, yeah, they were like, we brought the chicken rat in here and the chicken rat laid an egg. So then they were like, well, all right, well, Floppy isn't in the restroom. Earlier, we were playing with Dad in the hallway, and then we turned Dad into a chicken rat. Is Floppy in the hallway? He's not. Earlier, we were in the living room, and then we were about to turn Dad into a chicken rat. He's not in the living room. Earlier, we were in the play. It just goes on forever. It's a cute episode. It's makes some interesting sort of lateral thinking for kids. Like, especially for kids who need to find things. At this point, it's already like midnight. We can't find this damn rabbit. They checked in the fridge because they played in the fridge earlier because they were looking for chicken rat eggs. They're like, no, Floppy's not in the fridge. Was he by the playground area? Nope, not in here. And earlier, they were in the living room. And Chili's like, no, we already checked in here, kid. It's not in here. And then she's like, wait, I know where he is. He's in the egg over here because I hid him from when Dad earlier said he was going to eat everything. This episode was weird. It's very hard to explain Memento style without, giving you the whole backstory about chicken rats, which is not really relevant to the ranking system. I like Chicken Rat well enough. I don't love it. There's also an interesting thing. So, like, during the episode, Bandit basically just wants to sort of be left alone so he can read his newspaper. And the kids are like, well, we're going to make you an omelet at our restaurant. And he's like, all right, make me a chicken rat omelet. And they're like, what's a chicken rat? And they're like, it's a mix between a chicken and an egg. And they're like, all right. So then the whole episode was them trying to make a chicken rat egg. There, at some points when Bandit was hiding from the kids, he started to burp because he ate a lot of sauerkraut, and sauerkraut makes him burp. The reason I'm telling you this gross fact is because in the original Australian, he was allergic to sauerkraut, and sauerkraut made him sneeze, but they changed it because they didn't want to imply making fun of a food allergy kind of thing, I guess. I like Chicken Rat slightly less than Calypso. I like it more than Spy Game. And I think I'm going to drop Spy Game under Wagon Ride. But keep it above Backpackers. That works. Next. That was a weird one. Next is Neighbors. I like Neighbors. Neighbors is fun. We've only got a few episodes left. So Neighbors is an episode where Bluey is making her own house in like the living room. So fun fact about the house, by the way, before I go too far into this. Apparently the creator said that we're supposed to see the house sort of from the perspective of the kids. So it's supposed to be implied that the different rooms might change in perspective, which is a very fun way to explain perspective issues in your show. But, you know, to each their own. So this room, I'm not even sure where this is in the house, but Bluey is pretending to have her own house. She's like, look, I'm pretending to have this. You want to be my neighbor? So then Bluey and Bingo set up a neighborhood with couch cushions. Eventually Chili comes and plays, and she's a neighbor too. And then Dad comes and plays, and he's a neighbor, and Chili's like, please don't let Dad play. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to be a neighbor. I'm going to be a good neighbor. And so the dynamic of the episode is that Dad and Bingo are kind of the crappy neighbors, and Chili is trying to teach Bluey how to deal with a crappy neighbor sort of situation. Bingo needs to make more room for her animals, so she shoves into Bluey's area and takes up a lot of her room. And Bluey is a bit too much. She doesn't know how to explain to Bingo that she needs to be nice. Meanwhile, Bandit's over here messing with cars and stuff and being a loud, aggressive sort of neighbor, like a jerk neighbor. So basically both people are having neighbor issues, and he's like, hey, Bingo, you built into my house. And Bingo's like, yeah, I needed room for my sheep. And Bluey's like, oh, that makes me mad. And she calls her mom, and her mom's like, well, you think you have problems? My neighbor's barking. I don't even know what you're doing, because they don't actually bark in the show. It goes along. She's like, Bingo, can you give me more of my house back? And Bingo's like, no, I need it for my sheep. And she's like, okay, well, I'll see you later. So Bluey still doesn't know how to explain that she needs more of her house back. Eventually, this continues onwards, and her neighbor, Chili's neighbor, is like causing havoc, like falling trees into her house. I think that this is not the best way. And also, Bingo gave all her baby animals to her other neighbor. So she's like, now there was some neighborhood tranquility. And everybody was happy in the neighborhood. Neighbors is fine. I think it's better than... I like Neighbors a lot. Mostly I like Neighbors the most because of when Banda is just barking at the wall. Because Bluey's like, what's that noise? And Chili's like, I don't know what he's doing, actually. I like Neighbors pretty well. Yeah, exactly. You have that leverage if you're married. Bluey doesn't have any leverage over Bingo. I like Neighbors. I think Neighbors, not an A tier. Not an A tier. Maybe top of B. Neighbors, any episode where Bingo is acting kind of jerky, I'm not a huge fan of. I think top of B is fine for Neighbors. Yeah. What is next? Next is teasing. So teasing starts out with Bluey teasing Bingo, which is very unusual for this show. Eventually, they come in and they're like, Bluey, you can't tease Bingo. And Bluey's like, why not? Dad teases us all the time. And Bandit's like, when do I tease you? Well, what about those times that you don't let us into the bathroom or you don't let us into the toy room? And Bandit's like, that's not teasing. Yeah, well, what about the time you changed our names to like David and Hooga Mooga? That was teasing. And what about the time you pretended to be Mom from downstairs? Like you used your mom voice. What about the time you told us you were going to sell us to the monkey house? And what about the time I turned down my volume control and you couldn't hear me? And what about the time you farted in the living room? There's a whole bunch of circumstances here where he teased the kids. And eventually Bingo was like, can you open this ice cream for me? And he's like, oh, thanks for the ice cream, Bingo. And they're like, well, yeah, that one was teasing. And then he's like, well, you're telling half the story. Well, remember you shoved your way into the bathroom and claimed that you were the winner? And what about the time you changed my name to, Big Fart Face or something like that? Like Shootamuda. What about the time you dressed, you found me as mom and you dressed me up as a lady? Just more of the same. Very cute. That's exactly what you did to the kids when they were growing up. Makes you think I ever stopped. I think that teasing is fun. It's kind of feels like a clip show, to be real. Not really a whole lot of progression and evolution in that episode. Florida man challenges local fire department to water gun fight, uses hot sauce instead of water. Teasing. You think that's bad? Yeah, there really wasn't much of an arc at all. That said, I do like when Bingo I do like when Bandit kind of acts like a jerk, because Kitty's right. That is kind of how I acted. I think not really a whole lot happened. I would say, just going to keep pushing Horsey Ride down further. No way I like Horsey Ride less than Bob Bilby or Calypso. But above Chicken Rat. No, not above Chicken Rat. Why is Horsey Ride so far? I don't like Horsey Ride very much. I think it's because it had a lot of socks, but she wasn't even that good in that episode. I think bottom of C is fine. What episode was I even on? Oh, teasing. That's right. Yeah, I think top of C is fine for teasing. Like you're the best at. Oh, gosh, you're sweet, kitty. This is Magic Asparagus, which is a great episode. So the episode starts with the kids acting with. I don't remember that part. With the kids acting with really gross manners, and the parents are like, you need to act with better manners, kids. Somehow, I don't 100% remember how, but Chili says, I have this magic asparagus that can turn people into into creatures. It's magic. I don't remember how that comes about. Bandit tries to teach Bluey how to use manners when eating dinner at the dining table. However, when Chili gives Bluey a stick of asparagus, which magically turns the family into animals. Okay, there's your backstory. We can go. I don't remember why she gives Bluey the asparagus. Yeah, time for pee that smells weird. You're gonna know about this in 3 hours. So Bluey decides to turn her dad into I don't remember what animal that is. Donkey. I think dad into a donkey, and then Bingo's like, oh, do me, and she's like, all right, pelican, and then Bingo's like, no, I want to be a piggy, and she's like, all right, piglet, oink, 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 and then she turns her mom into a chicken. I really like this episode, and it's hard to tell in the screenshots because they're kind of low res but the expressions that the families give during the different changes, they emulate those animals so closely. Like she turns her dad into an elephant. Piglet Bingo's still running around. Bluey's like, I love this magic asparagus. The chicken is biting on Bluey's favorite toy, so Bluey turns her into a goat. Piglet Bingo is making a mess. She turns dad into a meerkat, and then turns mom into a mouse. And then she turns Piglet into a penguin. I remember all these transformations. Eventually she's like, oh, It's hard work. So she's like, maybe I'll turn you into calmer animals. Show's always had shockingly good facial expressions. Like, the animation in this, I know that I simp a lot for this show. I love this show. The show is so well written, so well drawn. It is a fantastic show, and I will never apologize for loving this show. So Bluey is like, maybe I'll turn you into slightly calmer animals. Turn you into peacocks. So Fairy's house. This is Pat. He comes up so often. He's out here just singing a song and putting up the towel, putting up the clothing on the dryer sheet line, whatever. He's doing laundry. I'm getting tired. I'm talking for a long time. So he's putting up the laundry. Meanwhile, the lions are over here in the grass. This is one of those weird episodes where they incorporate others into their game, and the others are always surprisingly okay with it. So he's like, what was that sound? Well, I guess it was nothing. Is Pat Wendy's husband, Judo's dad? I do not believe so. No. He's definitely not, because Pat is married to Janelle, who we won't see very much at all. The lions are over here grabbing Lucky's dad and back to the territory. She turns Bingo into a parrot, and she turns her mom into a rabbit. She's like, sorry, Lucky's dad. Lucky's dad's like, it's okay, Bluey. Shouldn't have let me guard down. Yeah, it's the other direction. Correct. They have a little manners lesson. She turns her mom into a worm because the rabbit was trying to get away. Daddy Walrus is trying to poop on all of their stuff, which is something animals do because he's a walrus, you see. Meanwhile, she drops the magic asparagus, and the magic asparagus is getting eaten by the parrot. And the magic asparagus is now gone. So now they're all animals forever. And Bluey's like, I need to fix this somehow. I don't remember why she puts them up back at the table. Maybe it's to put them back in the situation they were in before. But she really learns that the parrot can say words and make things change. And so like the parrot is able to say, Polly want a, cracker. That's a terrible example. Eventually she says, Polly want a dog. And then they all end up turning into dogs again. And then they're like, what happened? Oh, it must have been the magic asparagus. The episode is really good up until Bingo eats the asparagus. And then it's Bluey desperately trying to turn them back into dogs, and it takes a huge dip south. I like magic asparagus a lot for the first half. And then the second half is like wet fart. If it wasn't for the second half, it'd be an easy S. As for it now, under barbecue and markets. Just because of the second half. I think I don't like it better than markets, but I like it more than early baby. We've only got 3 left, and these are some interesting ones. Sean is a fun one. Dad, it's a pretty solid A rank. It's a really good. Hold on. I'm not normally going to do this, but you should see some of the facial expressions they do in this. Johnny Somali is planning an insane stunt for court. Magic asparagus Bluey. It has the full episode. We're not watching this a full episode. We're not watching a full episode. So you should see some of the I won't do the audio because I don't want to get, DMCA'd or whatnot. How it's not finished half an hour ago? Because I like to gab. That's why. Also, this YouTube channel is not. There we go. Like watching them run around as animals. Like look at their faces as they're running around. Like they are just in their roles. Okay. What time is it anyways? It's only 9:47. I thought I'd be done way early. Anyways, Dad's over here on the couch, and the girls are like, "Can you get us a dog or an animal? Can you get us a pet?" And Dad's like, "You already have a pet. You have Sean." Sean is a pretend emu. That is their dad's hand is Sean, the emu. Sean's kind of an asshole. Sean pecks at everything and makes messes. He's like, look, if you can take care of Sean, you can take care of an animal. Of course, Sean is a jerk and basically makes a mess of everything. So the kids, take care of Sean. Sean runs away and is a problem. Oh, God. This part's funny. And the mom's like, what are you guys doing? And she's like, oh, Sean's back. I really like the dynamic in Bluey where this is not the first time for a lot of stuff. Like, clearly, they already know about Sean. Sean creates more issues for the family, and Chili's like, you just need to be firm with Sean. Go over there and tell Sean what for. Again, this is a situation where Chili has a lot of power over Bandit. Bluey has 0 power over Bandit. So this whole situation, good sequence of thumbnail, or a good sequence of GIFs right there. Sean causes more problems, and Bluey is not telling Sean what to do properly. Sean attacks... That's Pat. Yeah, that's Lucky's dad. Lucky's dad gets attacked a lot in this show. And eventually Sean runs after a real bird. And because Bandit is going to take his role to the ends of the earth, he's about to attack a bird with his hands. Finally, Bluey's like, Sean, stop. And Sean actually stops, and she's able to take care of Sean. That's about the thick and thin of it. Yep. Not really much else to do with Sean. Eventually, they're like, Sean left. Sean went home. But guess what? Sean had babies. And now they have a whole bunch of other babies. Sean's not a very good episode. Not a huge fan of Sean. I'm going to drop Horsey Ride again. I think I'll put Sean at the bottom of C. I don't think I like Sean even as much as I like Spy Game. It had a bunch of kids on his arm. Well, they're all friends at least. Also, why do we have Charlie Brown undressing on Roar TV? I'll just get rid of that one. Thanks. We got 2 left. This one is Daddy Put Down. Mom is going to a baby shower, and the kids are like, "Oh, but I want you to put me to bed, Mom." And Mom's like, "Oh, that sucks. Bye." Dad'll put you to bed. It's fine. I'm going to a baby shower, and I'm gonna get plastered. Bye. And Dad decides to put them to bed. Is that just fruit on your, just bugs on your fruit? Good to know. Also, they don't, never mind. So Dad leads them around and makes it extra special fun for them to go to bed. This episode, very, very similar to The Weeknd. This is Dad just doing random assorted stuff with the kids. They end up doing the swing, and Bluey is still sad. And the whole time, Bluey is like, can we call Mom? Can we call Mom to come home? And Dad's like, well, yeah, I guess we can call her. It's just she was looking really forward to this baby shower. So, I guess. And Bluey's like, you know what? No, don't call Mom. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay for Mom to enjoy her thing. Put your phone away, Dad. And then Bluey makes her own baby shower, and they pretend to be... Bluey and Bingo pretends to be sad that Bluey has to go to the baby shower. So this is another one of those circumstances where they're trying to work through their feelings of Mom being away. Giant eyes on those prawn. Gross. The ladybug is an ongoing motif. So it's like the Life is Strange butterfly. Gotcha. Yeah, I was going to say that those kind of butterflies don't exist in Australia, but I forgot I was thinking of North Korea. That's a different thing. They continue to play more games. They're not touching on their aunt's infertility issues. No, and they never will. That doesn't sound like something they would discuss in season 1. They eventually end up having shrimp dinner. Mom comes home and she's like, "Oh, you guys went to bed, and Dad, you're on the floor for some reason." I'm glad you all went to bed nicely. That episode is a straight up fart nothing burger. It's very, very similar to The Weekend, and it's going to go just about where The Weekend was. I think it's slightly better than The Weekend, and I'll even put it better than Trampoline, but I don't think it's better than The Doctor. I think down in D is perfectly fine. Finally, we have our last for the evening. We have Veranda Santa, and this is our Christmas-themed episode. This is a socks heavy, and also the cousins and mostly the kids. Florida man found asleep atop Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro. Bluey is shaking open her presents. Bandit's like, don't shake your presents. Santa will know, and if you're mean to Santa, you're not going to get any damn presents. And then Bingo's like, let's play Veranda Santa. And then, yay! Who sits on top of the tree? Who is on top of the tree? That's a star. That's a star. They end up Muffin jumps on top of Stripe's nads, and that's pretty funny. And then they're like, sorry, Santa, sorry. So who sits on it? I don't think anybody. I would hope not. That'd be a horrible thing. That'd be like all that sap up your butt. Veranda Santa is, I guess, like Christmas time in Australia is in the summer, so it's very clearly not a white Christmas for them. Veranda Santa is somebody goes in, pretends to be Santa and hides things behind people's pillows. And then they wake up and they see the sort of stuff that were hidden under the pillows. Bluey is kind of acting like a jerk the whole time. She's like, I won't accept your apology. No, I apologize, and you won't even accept my apology. And then she forgets about it, and then they play more Veranda Santa. Bluey ends up being Santa. She ends up being really smarmy. She's like, you guys were awake. You don't get any presents. And then they do this shit. It's like, you don't have to be smarmy there, Bluey. You can have all your presents. Oh, and Socks decides to play. I think they probably got tired of having Socks in the living room, so they're like, go play Veranda Santa, Socks. Kind of like the way Finn gets thrown into our bedroom when people are tired of him. And they're like, you guys want to play Veranda Santa? And Socks helps Bingo put things under people's pillows, and Bluey decides to pick up Socks, and Socks, we don't have the screenshot, but Socks bites down on Bluey's hand, and Bluey's like, oh, Socks bit me. And Socks, who has about 4 brain cells between her right now, and Bandit's like, look, she's only 1 year old. She doesn't know where the hell she is, Bluey. Calm down. She doesn't. And Bluey's like, she didn't even say sorry. She's like, she's a baby. She doesn't know what she's doing. Chill. Just play more Veranda Santa. All right? And Bluey's like, fine, but I get to be Veranda Santa. And Bluey goes and hides toys under everybody's pillows except for Socks. And she's like, nope, Socks doesn't get any presents. She does not have to be smarmy. She ends up calming down a lot in the next 2 seasons, but season 1, she's pretty smarmy. Everybody wakes up and they find their presents, and Socks looks, and there's nothing for Socks. And Bluey's like, oh, I guess Santa doesn't bring presents to little dogs who bite people. And then Socks is sad, and then Socks runs away. And then Bandit's like, what the hell, Bluey? And Bluey, all these in-between scenes make me laugh every time with their eyeballs. But Bandit's over there like, Bluey, you need to go apologize to Socks. Bluey's like, well, she didn't apologize to me. Why should I do it? And they're like, Bluey, come with us. That's why you should do it. Exactly. That's what little baby Jesus. And Bluey's like, oh, Socks is all sad. You need to go talk to her and tell her and make things right. And Bluey's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't give you any presents, little baby Jesus Sock. I was just mad that you bit me and you didn't even say sorry. And Socks is like, I'm sorry. Because Socks doesn't even know how to talk. They do look like goats. They look like they're prepared for a jaguar invasion from across the Serengeti. So all of the family decides to hop into bed, and for whatever reason, they decide to play a prank. And I don't have the screenshot, but they do a big pillow fight and they hit Bandit in the face a bunch. It's adorable. I like Veranda Santa. I don't like making Socks sad. I like Christmas themed things. I like it enough to put it in B. I like it more than Pirates. I like it more than Mount Mom and Dad. I like it more than The Pool. I like it more than Hide and Seek. And Neighbors. Is it A? I think it might be A. Yeah. Early Baby, you're up too high. I'm going to move Early Baby down right above Butterfly. And I think Veranda Santa right after Asparagus works. Okay. All right. This is extremely scientific. I am extremely pedantic about my stupid tier lists. So this is season 1 of Bluey. We start from the bottom as we always do. From the flat damn bottom, just worst episode so far, Fairies. Followed by Magic Xylophone. Followed by Work, Hospitals, Daddy Robot, Kids, and Takeaway. Followed by Taxi is at the bottom of D tier. Hotel, The Weekend, Trampoline, Daddy Put Down. Is going slightly above The Doctor, but not above Blue Mountains, which is weird enough to put it higher than Daddy Put Down. Zoo and Horsey Ride. Horsey Ride, I'm sorry to do this, buddy. I have no idea how Horsey Ride got up as high as it did. I will put it slightly above The Weekend, though. Blue Mountains and the Zoo. Sean, bottom of C, followed by Backpackers, Spy Game, Wagon Ride, which I'm going to drop below Spy Game, just barely. Chicken Rat, which is up way too high. I'm going to drop you under Sean. But above Zoo. Calypso, Bob Bilby, Yoga Ball, and Teasing. Keepy Uppy, Mums and Dads. You're up too high. Actually, no, you're not. Mums and Dads is perfectly fine. Bottom of B. Yeah, Chicken Rat. No, not that. I like this episode. Why is your brother an episode? Different spelling. This is an episode in season 2 called Seesaw. This is a good episode. We're going to end up doing the season 2 tier list, but probably not for a little while. Where were we? Keepy Uppy, Mums and Dads, Grannies. Grannies can stay there. Pirates, Fruit Bat, Mount Mom and Dad, which I'm going to drop slightly. I'm going to keep Mount Mom and Dad above Mums and Dads, but not above Granny. The Pool, Hide and Seek, The Adventure, and Neighbors. The Neighbors, I'm going to drop you below The Adventure. Butterflies, Early Baby, The Dump, The Claw, which I'm going to drop under The Dump. Copycat, Shadowlands, Veranda Santa. I'm going to drop you under... No, I'm not. Asparagus, Markets, Barbecue, The Sleepover, Shops. All of these are pretty solid. S and A tier are mostly solid. The Sleepover, Shops, Bumpy and the Wise Old Wolfhound, Bike, Camping, The Creek, and the Beach. That was fun. That was a good time. Let me get rid of this one and actually save this picture so I can save it to the Discord. I appreciate your, your patience in my very, very esoteric, stupid bullshit.
Who?
I was going to do a Bluey character tier list, but we don't have time. We are right on time. We are going to do M games coming up very soon in the next month. I think we're going to start. I don't want to tell you. I don't want to tell you right now. You can see when I post the schedule, but it's going to be really awkward if I tell you now, right after the Bluey episode. That was fun. The month of M starts very soon. Thanks for hanging out with Bluey. We'll do season 2 later. But as for now, I'm going to bed. Have a fantastic evening. I will see you again on Thursday. We are not having a Saturday stream. No Saturday stream. It's going to be on Friday. Friday for that. Thanks, guys. Love you. Say it back. Bye. Mwah.
I want to let you folks know you've been a lousy audience. So get lost. See you later.